While it might be relief for Eddie Howe, Newcastle gaining a 3-1 victory at St James's over Brighton with Big Yass sat in the stands, it's certainly panic stations from where I'm sat after seeing that lineup, that in-game management and that tactical prowess that allowed us to sneak a 3-1 win when we probably could have thrown this game away. I'm Adam, this is Two for Joy. If you're new around here, get down there, like, subscribe, comment, hype the video, all of the good things. Otherwise, let's get into it. So where I want to start off is basically going through this lineup, and I feel personally like with the Saudis coming over, with the summit meeting at Matfitz Hall, this game was built to be make or break for Eddie Howe, and I feel this lineup has been picked not off who is best, as Eddie Howe says, the best team to get the performance and the win that we need, but actually picked for the players that are his favourites or that he has the trust in to try and save his job. And I mean, I'll start straight away with the front three of Joe Willock, Willa Sula and Jacob Murphy. And we've got Harvey Barnes, Anthony Gordon, Johan Wissa, Nick Voltmada all on the bench. Absolutely baffles me that we're still doing this. The midfield three I can completely understand, going back to Bruno, Sandro and Joel Linton. Joel Linton and Bruno today I thought were absolutely fantastic. Captain Bruno not only setting up the first goal, but the corner for the second. Absolutely A1 today, and you can see why he is so pivotal to this team. And the back line, Lewis Miley at right back, I can completely understand. Malik Chow and Sven Botman in the middle, I'm on board with. Dan Burn at left back again. And this worries me that we're dropping a talent like Lewis Hall for Dan Burn to play left back. And when Eddie Howe comes out and says it's because we want to be strong from set pieces, we certainly weren't that against Arsenal, were we? So, major concerns. And most of all, Nick Pope. Now, this is the most 50-50 performance I've ever seen from Nick Pope. Two absolutely fantastic saves from a shot stopping point of view. One from the overhead kick and one which he clawed off the line. But my God, his distribution is worse than I've ever seen. And I used to be, if Nick Pope comes out of the box, I'm shaky. Now, I'm shaky every time this guy's played the ball. Seriously. Just put it into Rose Ed. If you can't use your feet, just put it into Rose Ed. But we'll start by going through the game. Realistically, Newcastle started really well that first half an hour. Obviously, Bruno's long ball out wide to Jacob Murphy. Bart Verbruggen comes out, slides in. I feel while he may clip him, Murphy did really well to stay on his feet, puts a great ball in, and Willa Sula leaps through the air to put this Newcastle side 1-0 up. And I'm so proud of this kid. Willa Sula, he gives it every game, 110%. He may not have that final finish quality. He may be a rough diamond, but he does put in the effort, and that's what I want to see. I just want to see players who want to play for the badge. And realistically, I felt like the midfield did really well today. Joe Willock the same, pushing forward. And when we gained the corner, obviously Bruno swinging in across, and Dan Burn, many times before we'd see that header go flying over or in mistimed, but today perfectly executed into the top corner. And at 2-0 up 30 minutes in, we feel comfortable. This feels like Newcastle of old, Newcastle of 2 seasons ago. And it is Newcastle of 2 seasons ago or 3 seasons ago, playing Joe Willock out left, Jacob Murphy out right. And this midfield three of Joel Linton, Sandro and Bruno. But realistically, there are still major flaws here. And I felt like this team put on a performance for Big Yass and Piff sat in the stands. But on a weekly basis, we're not seeing that level of effort. We're not seeing that level of desire to go on and win games. And I genuinely believe this is down to the system. We've seen it too many times. We've overplayed this system. We have no backup plan. And this rings true in the fact that we go in comfortably at half time and start the second half completely flat, as we've seen before. I don't know what Eddie Howe says in those half time team talks, that he saps the life and energy out of those players. It is unreal, absolutely unreal. But Brighton coming out in the second half and they're like a totally different team. One touch passing, some amazing stuff. And realistically, Hinchelwood, a great finish over Nick Pope's shoulder, top bins. It's a fantastic goal. And from that point, the nerves are back in. The frustration is back in. We're all sat there for a second half knowing we're going to nervously sit deep and try and hold on to a 2-1 win. And I think it's so obvious when Brighton come on top and we sit back and the substitutions that are made are for us to go into, they say, a back three. It's a back five. Lewis Hall coming on with 20 minutes to go. Lewis Miley being put out as wing backs and playing with a back three. And realistically, Lewis Hall on the bench comes on for 20 minutes and he creates the best chance of the game. Absolute stonewaller, and puts Johan Wissa through one-on-one. All he's got to do is keep it down. Now, last week you'd have thought he'd learnt his lesson after skying the ball straight over from Nick Voltemada's through ball at Arsenal. But no, this guy is supposed to be a stallion. He's a fucking show pony. He cannot hit the target. He doesn't look like he's got 30 minutes in his tank. He is absolutely useless. Genuinely, I don't know how the Wissa last season, who got 19 goals, is the Wissa this season that has one in the Premier League. Absolutely fucking awful. But like I say, from the starting lineup to the in-game management, the like-for-like substitutions, the lack of a game plan when Brighton start to get on top. And realistically, Brighton had ample chances to level this. Most of all, Yakuba Minter. Yakuba Minter's shot skied over the bar. It's the best thing he's ever done for Newcastle, bless him. And I wish him well, because he came into the club, he went out of the club before he got to play for us, and I think he's an outstanding talent. But I couldn't be more pleased that he saved our bacon today by skying that ball over the bar. But with their young Greek striker, the overhead kick could have been a goal. There's a couple flashed across the box that players couldn't get to. Danny Welbeck driven shot straight into a defender. There's ample opportunities there for Brighton to have taken this away from us, and I'm absolutely surprised that we didn't concede a second, and only for it to be a mistake at the back, a single solitary mistake at the back from Brighton that let Johan Wissa in. And when he comes round on that left-hand channel, comes back towards Verbruggen, and I'm thinking just lay it off, just lay it off. And even then, if you play the replay back, he almost doesn't put it round the keeper. It's that slack of a pass. And Harvey Barnes does fantastically well to fake the shot, cut back on his left foot and drive it straight into the top of the net. And that's relief. 100% that's relief. And there's nothing I want more than for Newcastle to go on and just win these final games of the season. The season's done now. We've nothing to play for. Realistically, all I want is some good performances and some desire. But I still don't see how, from this summit meeting, Eddie Howe is safe in this job. I cannot see that he is safe in this job. I think he gets 2 wins out of these last 3 games and they keep him. But genuinely, there should be a succession plan in place. This was a clear performance that shows, while the players put in a great performance, I'll run through the stats because I've got them here. 6 shots on target from Newcastle, 4 shots on target from Brighton. That's the best stat of the game, bar the scoreline. 68% possession to Brighton. We're at home. 68% possession. 32% possession for Newcastle, playing at home with our fixed midfield three of Sandro, Bruno and Joel Linton. This is absolutely appalling. Passes in the game, 452 for Brighton, 247 for Newcastle. Pass accuracy, 88% for Brighton, 72% for Newcastle. It is staggering. Corners in the game, 2 for Newcastle, 10 for Brighton. Realistically, this Brighton team did more in that second half than we did in the first. And it does worry me that Eddie Howe, after this big meeting, is going to be given the leash to go out and spend money in this summer window. After the signings that he's made, having 75-80% of the signings that he made this summer sat on the bench and not even getting good minutes. We've got Elanga, Harvey Barnes, Anthony Gordon, Johan Wissa, Nick Voltemada. It almost appears like you don't want to attack. It is all about what we do off the ball rather than on the ball. And when we are 2-0 up and we concede a goal, most managers' first thought would be we need to kill this game off and get a goal. Eddie Howe's first thought is, who can I bring on to shore this up so that we can see out a 2-1 win at home? If you want to go on and win trophies, win titles, challenge in the Champions League, even contend for European competitions, your first thought shouldn't be how to see out a game. It should be how to kill off a game. And with that mindset in itself, Piff should be putting in a contingency plan. For me, it's absolutely staggering that this is still a thing and that we're still in this position after the run of games that we've had. It's fantastic news for Newcastle moving up to 13th place in the Premier League. Obviously, a few points off the Mackems. And that really has to be the goal for the season, to finish above the Mackems. As sad as that is, their best season in a long time and our worst season in a long time, being that our desire is to finish above them. But genuinely, a bottom half finish this season just says we are rinse and repeating the same cycle that we had 2 years ago in the Champions League under Eddie Howe, and that this will not progress. But the biggest thing, I think, most of all, is PIF being in the stands and there not being this flagship or leadership from the group, from PIF. I think we've missed having a focal figure like Amanda Staveley, who was there at the club, who was running the day-to-day, who was involved, who knew what was going on. And David Hopkinson, while he's supposed to be the CEO and the flagship person that speaks on behalf of the club, doesn't really come out and say enough for my liking, I'll be quite honest. At least when Amanda Staveley was there, we kind of all knew the direction the club was heading in. We kind of knew what the focal point from PIF was, the direction was. We always get this second-hand feedback from whether it's Eddie Howe or David Hopkinson or whoever it might be, Darren Eales as it was, with the we want to be here by 2030, we want to do this, we want to do that. Realistically, there should be a figure to speak on behalf of the club and give the fans a little bit more hope and direction. I feel that's massively missing from this disconnect between PIF and the fans, and that is probably where the unrest is growing from, alongside the unrest of Eddie Howe's poor in-game management, the like-for-like substitutions, the lining up with the favourites continuously over and over again. But like I say, it's a good win. We should be happy, take the points, move up the table and focus on the next games. But will it be onward and upward from here, or will it be a downward spiral to the end of the season and we've just scraped to make sure that we're not going to be looking down at that relegation position? Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, get involved, and hopefully, guys, I will see you in the next one.